I am incredibly inspired tonight as we celebrate the graduation of your course here at SMU. As Marilyn said, I barely made it. Just a couple days ago, I was on a flight in from London. Before that, I was dramatically evacuated out of Africa, out of the Congo. Certain flight paths were labeled as war zones. Embassies were evacuated. Flights were canceled. I was worried that I wouldn't make it here in time to speak, but when Dean Chard and when SMU invites you to speak, you do whatever it takes, make it halfway around the world to make it happen. If you pick up the latest Forbes magazine, you'll find a page that fills my heart with pride and excitement. It says, SMU, World Changers Shaped Here. And I love that when you look at the latest Forbes magazine, they ranked SMU, I don't know if you saw this, as one of the most entrepreneurial schools in the nation. They ranked it along, I think, number 15, but along with Princeton, Yale, MIT, Stanford. So congratulations on that. But I love that when you drive around town and when you look at a magazine, you see SMU declaring this boldly and proudly. Because it's true. This incredible institution is building up yet another generation of entrepreneurially minded global citizens. They ask you not just to think outside the box. They suggest that you think there is no box. What I love most about the school is that they encourage you to succeed not only so that you do well, but that you do well for the community. I'm an entrepreneur. I started my first company when I was 17. But I'm most excited about my role today that I'm representing. I serve as CEO of an international humanitarian aid organization called Linking the World. Linking the World provides hunger relief, medical aid. We've operated schools. We've built schools in places like Afghanistan, Myanmar, Haiti, Kenya. We have a program with the Department of Defense where we foster peace through creating dialogue and building friendships around the world. And we have a program locally called the Global Social Leadership Program, where we use a curriculum where we connect kids here with their peers around the world, and they learn about social issues, and they're given a platform to make our own communities stronger. So we recently relocated our headquarters to Dallas, Texas, and we have been lucky enough to work with many graduates of SMU. Today, over 90% of our Dallas staff are graduates of SMU. And as Marilyn said, a couple years ago, I took an executive studies course for nonprofit leadership. So within our organization, we feel the heartbeat of the SMU culture that is fueling our mission and our passion to change the world. With the rights and with the freedoms that our country and that our community and our families have afforded us, I believe that we have a responsibility because we have been given an incredible power. And that is the power to take a stand for those that cannot stand for themselves. So I knew at a very young age that I was passionate about this work, but in order to be able to do all the things that I wanted to do, to reach all these goals of mine, I had to create my dream job. How lucky are we that we live in a time and space where we as young women can just have a dream, to work hard, to be passionate, and to create our own realities. I know in my mother's generation, I wouldn't have been afforded the opportunities that are available to me today, and so I wake up every morning knowing that I won the lottery. I mean, comparatively, we won the genetic lottery to be born into the families that we are. So I wake up every day feeling like the luckiest woman in the world, and I do not want to waste a moment, an opportunity to take advantage and make my life matter. And our success as an organization matters. You know, social issues that affect communities around the world are no longer isolated. Considering the effects of rapid globalization and an ever-connected society, what happens internationally affect us here at home. And organizations like ours are charged with tackling these issues not only to help others, but to help secure our shared future as well. So personally and professionally, I know that taking that one extra step means one extra step closer to success. Which is why I'm so in awe of all of you that are here today. Each one of you took time out of your summer to expand your horizons. You're exploring possibility, and you're furthering your education. You are already one extra step closer to success. I want to ask you, if I were to pull you up here and ask you to describe yourself with one word, what would it be? For me, I would describe myself as curious. It got me into trouble as a kid. I was a tomboy growing up, constantly falling out of trees, and my parents taking me to any restaurant, I would be the one taking the pepper grinder apart, trying to figure out how it worked and making a mess. To this day, I'm curious. I am on a personally, I'm on a quest, constant quest for knowledge. I want to understand more. I'm curious about what drives people. I'm curious about what inspires people. And I definitely want to understand what makes people succeed. Working internationally, I get to interface with the entire spectrum of people around the world. I get to work with world leaders. I get to work with some of the most philanthropic and some of the wealthiest people in the world. But I also get to work with some of the most desperate, vulnerable people in the world. Success for each one of those different types of people, the definition is very different. But success for one person might mean having $5 billion in their bank account. Success for another could mean being able to feed their families and keep them safe for one more night. In our work, success can mean the difference between life and death. So no matter what the definition of success is, I've learned that everyone seemed to follow a few unspoken rules. As I said, I love to learn from people, and being able to work with people internationally, they've all given me a gift. So what I've done is I've narrowed down 5 of these unspoken rules, and I'm going to give them to you today. And then I'll leave with you one truth that I've come to know. And I'm going to tell you what it's going to take for you to become successful so that you can, as SMU says, change the world. If you want to be successful, we have to let go of perfection. Women especially, we tend to be perfectionists. We like for everything to look pretty and packaged perfectly before we release it out into the world. But we get to let go of what we think it's supposed to look like so that we can leave space for other possibility. And if you're waiting for that perfect time to take action or to get started, that time will never come. Number 2 would be to embrace failure. That's right. Successful entrepreneurs embrace failure and learn to keep moving forward. They know what it takes to try, fail, and try again, and keep moving forward, picking themselves up after mistakes. Mistakes aren't what define us. What defines us is what we do to keep moving forward. We like to think of failure as the end of the world. And we're in such resistance to it that, think about it, we spend most of our time in resistance to failure, trying not to fail, than we spend trying to succeed. I believe that our true beauty and strength as women come from what failure builds up. I believe failure builds up resiliency. I believe as women that our true beauty and strength comes from our resilience, because with each experience comes wisdom and a deeper understanding of life. It's natural to be afraid of failure. No one seeks it out, but it's what shapes us, and it's what builds up what is our number 3, builds up courage. Have courage. Now I had to think about what courage meant for me. I thought, was it the absence of fear? 2 years ago, I was at a conflict resolution summit in London, and I was new, and I was afraid to speak up. And there I was, sitting behind a sign that said, "Linking the World." And aside from representing this incredible organization, I was representing our values and principles. I remember thinking to myself, 10 minutes left of the session, I remember thinking, Mina, if you don't speak up, then your voice will not be heard. The voices of the families, the mothers, the children that you made a commitment to take a stand for, their voices will not be heard. What's more important in this moment, your fear or a vision for your life, the one that you made such a commitment to? So the next time you feel afraid, ask yourself, what's more important in this moment? That's what it means to have courage. If you want to be successful and change the world, we can't be afraid of pain. Push through the pain. You have to fight when you're already bloodied, injured, and sore. You know that breaking point that makes you wonder how much longer you can hold on? When you get there, that's when you push through the pain, because on the other side is a breakthrough, a transformation. There's a quote that I absolutely love, and it says, "Just when the caterpillar thought the world was over, she became a butterfly." It'll be painful. It'll be discouraging, and at times it will test you to your very core. But through that experience is when you'll become so clear about a vision for your life. I was forced to become clear about this last year. You see, last year I was diagnosed with brain cancer. For over a year, I've been dealing with not just the emotional effects, the debris, the insecurity that cancer brings, the physical changes, the pain, the nausea, all of those things. But I've been learning quite a bit about myself. Every single day has been a challenge in some way. Some days I struggle with having no energy, having to push through pain. I've gotten very good at putting on drag makeup, throwing on some lashes, and putting in my hair extensions to look presentable. And some days I question everything. But through this experience, I've discovered a resiliency within myself that I was taught from my work with the survivors of this world. These survivors, these women especially, these true heroes, the ones that I thought I was helping, were actually helping me. How is that? They taught me to practice compassion. You see, compassion has nothing to do with pity. Compassion means love in action, and that means working together, side by side. These women taught me to be resilient right along with them. To say that they've put things in perspective is an absolute understatement. This was when my real transformation began, because this experience called me to become crystal clear about a vision for my life. And so now I get to be deliberate about how I show up every single day with a sense of urgency. Which brings us to our fifth and final rule, which is you are not a victim. I'm not a victim. What I've learned is that you cannot be an entrepreneur, a creator of your own destiny, and a victim of circumstances at the same time. It doesn't mix. It's like oil and water. The people we help refuse to be victims because we don't invest in victims. We invest in survivors. We invest in passion-driven creators that refuse to just be okay with the hand that they're dealt. But despite these often insurmountable set of circumstances declare that they will be successful. That's passion. Wouldn't you agree that that's why we're here today? You have a choice in how you show up every day. I know that I do, and I've made a decision to live my life with intention, to live my life on purpose. What do you dream of becoming after you graduate? Who do you dream of becoming? If you're like me, you dream big. And if you're like me, you'll have many different job titles within your lifetime. During this course, it's true that you learned how to write powerfully. We each have our own unique story. We are each writing our own book, and we are each here today because we realize the pen's in our hand. To this graduating class, as we celebrate your accomplishments, realize that you are moments away from writing the next chapter of your journey through life. You're moments away from using your own unique perspective, your talents, your voice to change the world for the better. Because of our shared success, the next generation and the generations that follow will live in a world that's far better, far more connected, far more compassionate, far more understanding of each other because of our shared success. Speak from experience when I say that life will throw you curveballs, but as you face these challenges with courage, I encourage you to have a peace knowing that those same challenges are leading to your greatest joys. They're leading to your greatest achievements. World changers are shaped here. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to become so clear about a vision for our lives and for the world, so big, so important that we never let our set of circumstances become bigger than it. We're going to look for ways to lift each other up. We're going to stay curious and open, and we will never, ever give up on our dreams. It is such a privilege for me to share this experience with you. Thank you so much for having me, and congratulations. Thank you.